Hey, Morana, tēnā koutou katoa. So I'd like to open this morning's District Promotion Committee meeting on Tuesday, the 19th of October. Mayor Jim sends his apologies for this morning's meeting. Therefore, I will call for nominations for a chairperson.
I'd be happy to nominate Liz Stolwick as the chair.
I'll second.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Claire and Philip. So all those in favour?
Aye.
And I'll hand over to Liz. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, Sally. Again, apologies from Jim. He's unable to attend this morning. But hey, let's kick into our agenda because, of course, we've got a busy day today. First of all, apologies. So we'll put one in for Mayor Jim, and we haven't received formal apologies from Merv or Kevin, but perhaps we'll just put apologies in for them as well.
That's fine, Liz. Yes, we can do
Is
that.
that okay? Yeah, okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder for those apologies, please? Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Marcus. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, are there any disclosure of members' interests this morning?
Just Culinary Cambridge. There's a brief discussion about that. So, yep.
Yeah, thank you, Philip. Anybody else? No, we'll keep moving through our agenda. We've got late items. No late items, I'm presuming, from anybody at this point? No, okay. No. Very good. Okay, then confirmation of the order of the meeting. There's just a few items, so if everyone's happy with that, we'll confirm the order of the meeting. So can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you. Claire's gone off my screen. Thank you, Marcus. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, confirmation of the minutes. So this is obviously a meeting we held back on the 23rd of June. We had a number of applications to consider at that time. So are there any amendments or alterations to those minutes?
No, but I'm happy to move that they're true and correct.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Claire. You're back on my screen now. And Philip, you're happy to second?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for that. All in favour?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, so let's move on to our first item, of course, and I believe that Claire, is that correct, is going to present the District Promotion Event Fund Allocation Report.
Sure is. Morning, everyone. So we'll crack straight into it. So we have 3 applications that we've reviewed for the District Promotion Fund. We did have a Community Event Fund application come through in the beginning for the Likinwa Picnic Memorial, but that's since cancelled, so we didn't go any further with that one. So basically we've looked at the 3 applications that have come in, and we're basically giving partial funds, well, recommending partial funds to all of them. So starting with the Wake National Championships. So they've had great success over previous years. So this is not a new event. There will be some economic benefit with people coming to participate in that one. We thought it would be worth offering a portion of it. So they've asked for 4,000, but we're recommending 2,000. Cracking straight into the dressage event. That's a 3-day event, so quite a good economic benefit for that one. And people come from the North and South Island for that one. So basically it's I think the second time running for that event. And I think it was noted that the crowds that they attracted for the event last year were really substantial for that particular venue out at Takapoto Estate. So that's really exciting. And I guess it's just a unique event for the district, something a bit different, being dressage. It's not sporting or the other usual horsing events. So there'll be some definite great recognition of the Home of Champs branding there as well. So, but we did think that the amount that they were asking probably didn't quite give us the return that we were looking for. So they did ask for 7,000, but we're recommending 3,000. And then I'll just finish up with the Big Air Nationals. So this is a really exciting event for the district, an extreme event, extreme sporting event, which will be very, very new. And it was going to be obviously alongside the Kiwi Expo, but Jed Milden is hoping to continue on with that. If he can't go ahead with his dates of the 5th to the 7th of November, he'll be looking to postpone that, hopefully. So yeah, we expect that there'd be quite a large number, should COVID allow, spectators that is. But yeah, great event to align with the Home of Champions branding, and yeah, something really cool and different for the district. So we thought we'd, yeah, again, pretty high for what they were asking, 6,000, and just aligning it with the other events that we were looking at. I think we've recommended 2,000, which was kind of in line with what we were looking at with the others. So if we can just have a discussion around the three, we'll go back to the Wake Championships. What does everyone think about that?
Any questions for Claire on the Wakeboard Nationals? This event's held at Horahora and has been operating for a long time. Claire, do you have a question?
Yeah, well, I was just surprised at the low numbers actually of participants. Yeah, I thought it was quite, I mean, obviously spectators is quite reasonable, but it looks to be quite a small event to me. Yes, I was happy with the funding recommendation.
Yeah, and look, I would support your you're on that one, Claire. The event itself, it has been operating for a long time. It's probably not well promoted, but the actual sport itself, I think it's recognised that Horahora is the best location for it. And it'd be great to see bigger numbers, but I guess it's just a specialist thing.
And I think the wakeboarding sport in New Zealand and around this area is growing in popularity as well. So I think it'll definitely increase the numbers in the future.
Thanks, Marcus. And Philip?
Yeah, and do visitors, do they stay in camper vans and everything at Horahora there, or do they come and stay in town and Matamata and places like that, or?
Yeah, I mean, they do stay in town, yes. There's only a small number that actually stay out at Horahora, so yeah, suffice to say that they would be staying in paid accommodation elsewhere. Okay, so if everyone's agreement with the amount for wakeboarding, that's fantastic. So maybe we'll move on to the next event, Claire.
Yep, so the dressage event, yeah, again, just I guess a unique event in itself. So did anyone have any questions about that one?
No.
Claire?
Well, I thought it was a great event, and I'd be happy for more to be given to it actually, and also for the next one as well. Yeah, I just feel that perhaps there's a little bit more in the kitty because of the other cancellations or postponements that we're getting. Mostly the cancellations will give us more funding, and so if it could be stretched even another $1,000 for both of them, I think would be a nice gesture. I think both of them have got both those events have got real promise. That's what I thought. Yeah,
Great
so
potential.
put it on the table.
No, thanks. Thank you, Claire. Philip, you've something?
Yep, thanks. I'm the same with the Big Air. Give it a little bit more. I mean, you've described it as a huge economic benefit and to Waipa, and that's what our businesses need and things like that. So I'd be happy certainly to give it at least another 1,000, if not a bit more, but at least another 1,000 anyway. So, yep.
Thanks, Philip. Yeah, I guess when I looked at both of those applications, and Claire, you alluded to it, that they are quite, well, we don't see a lot of applications necessarily from equine, but even more so, we don't see a lot of applications for events that attract our youth, our young people.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a guess really that the Big Air would attract young people. I mean, it's it's probably more that demographic, but it's when I look at Jed Milden, 45,000 followers on his Instagram and things like that. I mean, that's massive. And he's a nitro circus rider, I believe, as well. So yeah, it would be great if now I know he lives in Tauranga, so not that far away. But if he could, look to do more events in Waipa, hey, well, that would be pretty fantastic.
Yeah, well, if we can kick this one off and it goes well, hopefully you'd have one on the calendar for each year. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, no, exactly. So the Nationals hasn't been held before. So this is a created event that is looking to home in Waipa. So I guess, I'd probably support both, all the comments that have been made already around maybe increasing the sums for both the Takapoto Estate and also the Nationals.
We've definitely got the money, so
Yeah.
Actually, so just on that, I kind of looked at that on that list and thought there's probably a few, since the report was submitted, that there's probably a few other events that have gone by as well. Would that be fair to say?
I've got a list to discuss at the next item. We just thought we'd go through it at the end just to give you guys a lay of the land. But you've got plenty of money to be playing with for these 3 applications at this stage.
Thank you, Amber. I want to see that as good news, but I know that it's actually not good news. The fact that we've got more. Okay, well, let's have a recommendation around. Yeah, Philip?
I'd certainly support 2 more grand for the big air and at least another grand or so for Takapoto then.
Okay, thanks, Philip. I'll open that up for discussion. So the recommendation or the alteration, 2,000 extra for big air and 1,000 for Takapoto Clear.
Yeah, so good suggestion, Phil. Happy with the 1,000 for dressage, and I guess the big air is worthy of a bit more, but would we be creating an expectation of that level of funding would carry on for a future event? So that's why I was sort of more conservative in just giving 1,000. But any comments about creating an expectation if we did increase it to 2,000 more for the big air one? I mean, we could argue, well, it was the first year and you wanted to give them a good go, set them up for success.
I mean, you could potentially, but I mean, Takapoto we've all been to Takapoto. It's a phenomenal event, and there's, a lot of money in equine and what have you, but it is out of town. But the big air, the actual event is in town, and people can just whip into town and get some lunch or get a coffee or whatever. Where at Takapoto everything's on site. So, you mentioned a huge benefit, and I think you could be correct there. So that's my thinking behind why I feel maybe 2 grand is a good option, but because it is in town and it will create a bigger benefit, and they'll stay there as well. How many days is that one? Is that 1 or 2, or how many days?
The
big
dressage.
The big air?
Oh, big air is 5th to the 7th of November. Oh no, it's just, sorry, actually I'm getting confused. That was the Kiwi Expo date, 5th to the 7th of November, but big air is for both days, Liz?
Yeah, so I guess, the expectation it will be multi-day going forward, but for this time, I think just the 2 days because it's essentially going out on its own.
So
that's
my thinking behind it anyway. So,
I mean, on the application, it was 16th to 17th of October, but obviously that's changed to the 6th and 7th of November. But yeah, I'd be happy with.
It's probably still pretty marginal that it'll go ahead too, won't it? Yeah.
We almost need to ignore the dates and just look at the concept, and we'll work out the postponements later. Claire and I will suss the details.
Thanks, Amber. You're quite right. There doesn't appear to be any event that has any certainty around dates at the moment. I guess the other thing too to consider is that when we have opportunities like this that come to Waipa, supporting new events or giving them, I guess, a little bit of an extra helping hand for seed funding in their first year just might help secure the deal. Yeah, and we want to be supportive so that they continue coming back to Waipa. You know, I'm looking at the bigger picture here. You know, we've just had, I guess, you know, almost 18 months now of just turmoil in the events industry. So yeah, if we've got the money, perhaps yeah, we just a little bit of encouragement probably to stay in Waipa probably wouldn't go amiss. Marcus, are you in agreement with pretty much all the comments?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So Philip, you had you altered the recommendation to increase it to 2,000.
Yep. So $2,000 for Big Air and $1,000 for the dressage for Takapoto. Yeah, I'll move that.
Thanks, Philip. You're happy to move. Can I have a seconder, please, Claire?
Yeah, I'm happy to second.
Thanks, Claire. And all in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I think that's a good outcome. All right, moving on in our agenda. So can I just, actually, I'm going to go back to the recommendation because, of course, we've got to move the recommendation A, B, and C. So we've amended the amounts and just want to make sure that we've got that full recommendation clear. And I was looking to our governance team here am I on track here?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So
yeah,
we can just, if you wanted, maybe just the final figures, Liz, that we've landed on. So we've got 4,000 for the Big Air Nationals. We've got 2,000 for Wake National Championships and 4,000 for the dressage by the lake. Correct? We all agree? That's absolutely fine.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks, Jenny. So do we need a recommendation for A, B, and C?
What you passed was fine. That was
okay.
the entire, it basically just, you're receiving the report, you've amended the amounts, and you were then obviously in C, where you're resolving to set aside the remaining fund balance to be allocated to events that apply during the year.
Brilliant. Okay, that's great.
Fine. Yeah, so
we've
we
got
have Philip and Claire. That's absolutely fine.
Fantastic. Okay, then, hey, we'll move on to our next item, our last item, which is District Promotion and Community Event Funds Cancellation Process Review. So,
Liz, can I just interrupt for a second? Can I just go back to the last item? With the events that we have sponsored, the Frazzled Kiwi and the Karate Champs that I both competed in, we've got great value for money, especially our Frazzled Kiwi. I think there was a really good event that wasn't on the list to sponsor, but we chose to give them some money. And their social media and the recognition at the event and the day and stuff was really well done. I think it was cool. Good event. And it's good seeing our branding out there and stuff. Yeah. And same with the karate and Tiamaru. There was a ton of people came from around the North Island, and that was a really good day too. So it's a really good fund. And it's good seeing our name out there.
Great to have the inside contacts as well. Thanks for that, Marcus.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Okay, all right, Amber, over to you.
Okay, so this is hopefully a short and sweet report here. So at our last catch up, we discussed cancellation and processes for postponement as well with regard to the funding. And at the time, we had dates in that recommendation. COVID doesn't have an end date, obviously, at the moment. So we just need to go through and review the processes for both cancellations and postponements with the funding. And I'm recommending to remove the dates. So there's no end date at this stage until things start to settle down. We'll probably review it again in a couple of years' time. Claire?
Yeah, so I noticed that the wording, I'm going off memory here because I can't access my agenda while I'm in the Zoom meeting, otherwise I disappear and then Liz can't see me. But it said that if the event is postponed beyond the 30th of June, they have to reapply.
Yes, so our funding rounds that we have are for the financial year. So they would need to start the process again for the next financial year's worth of funding. But in saying that, if their event was exactly the same, it would be quite easy to tweak their original application with dates, times, those finer details. Yeah. Yes.
So well, I was going to say, isn't it true though that when we have funding that's left over or unallocated at the end of the year, we can roll it over? It can be transferred to the following year. So in actual fact, because COVID's a special situation, and we wouldn't have thought that this would happen, when we were planning the policy, but I'd be inclined to think that if you've got an event that went through the competitive process, they got an allocation, but for some reason they've had to postpone because of COVID, and are now looking at a date after the 1st of July, I would like them to actually not have to reapply, that we could say, we'll keep that funding for you going forward. I guess we might have to say it has to be used within the next 12 months or something, but I'd be a bit disappointed to put them through another application process in this situation.
Yes, I understand what you're saying there. I have had some discussions with the governance team around that, and my understanding is with that fund is we have to pay out the event that has applied within the financial year. Yes, we have the funds rollover that are unspent, but they have to go back into an application process from 1 July. That's my understanding at this point. Yes, and I've asked a couple of times just to see what we could do, but the rules are pretty, I think, steadfast on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, we would certainly work through. I'm unsure if that would have to go back to council as a request to change that, or if we obviously work through with the event organizer if their date were to change to reapply come that next financial year. Discussions I've had with a couple of events that are postponing to that 12-month mark out from their original date, they understand that they would need to reapply, and they haven't put any concern back to us. They've kind of accepted it and said that they'd be in touch closer to the right time. So it might be something I need to discuss further with governance to see what we could do. And we could look to do something for the next financial year moving forward.
It's really good to get that feedback that the people you've already spoken to aren't phased by having to reapply. I mean, obviously, maybe they can just change the dates in the original application, so it's not actually a lot of work. For them to do that. It just seemed a bit of a pity, really, that because of our rules, and it's really because of COVID. That's the issue, really. They had everything set up, and it's simply that it's not possible to have a group event that size.
Claire, I'm wondering if we can maybe try and pursue this a little bit further with the finance team, because when you look at the implications COVID has had, it is on the hospitality, event, tourism sector, and essentially we are, of course, we only have a set fund, and if we don't spend it and it's not rolled over, we're not investing, back into this industry, post COVID. And I think that is something, and I look around the world, that it's always been that sector has always been the most affected, and it seems to me that's where a lot of councils, a lot of other countries are putting a lot more energy into. But we're kind of shortchanging ourselves by not rolling that monies over and investing. What we're not even just spending what we would have spent. In fact, we're like I say, shortchanging ourselves in a sense. So I'm wondering if we can maybe take this, to finance, talk to the team there and see if we perhaps can look at a better way of doing this.
I'd certainly support that, Liz. I mean, there's another side of it, and that is if you've got a lot of events that are now being shuffled forward into the next 12 months, is it going to crowd the future calendar? Like, I guess generally this, you're probably not going to increase the number of events seriously, but it might create a sort of, because you've got all those ones that couldn't be held this year, so they're now going to move in next year. And you've got, it might actually be creating a problem too. I'm not sure.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh look, there's no doubt about that. But I guess what would be nice is that if you make some savings in some areas, it means you might have a little bit more. There are some events that are in serious, financial difficulty now. And the other thing to highlight as well, because I had a conversation yesterday with Medi from the World or the International Dragon Boating event that wants to come here in 2023. So so here we, again, we'll only just have the set amount of money where we are hoping to attract a really big, we have attracted a really big event. So look, I'm just thinking that I understand, Amber, Claire, where things are at, and I think we move the recommendation as it is, but perhaps councillors, we can take this conversation and look to support with the finance team and moving forward.
So
Sounds
just
good.
on that note, before we pass this, so we do roll over any unspent funds to a new financial year from the district promo and community event funds, but we can't roll them over at this stage to a specific event for the next financial year. So that's the part you'd like to look into, is carrying it forward for a specific event. Cool.
Yeah.
I will pull up a couple of reports that were done 2019 about that rollover stuff and just recirculate that to everybody again. That was a wee while ago now. Yeah.
Thank you, Amber. Okay, and look, I guess like I said, with that international event or any other international event as well, I am just wondering about how we give them some certainty that we will have some funds, because I guess they've been asked to apply like everybody else, which is fine. But when you've got such a large event like that on the horizon, what would be your suggestion? Other than early application, which I think Meddy has been in contact, but she's been in contact with us for about 3 years, hasn't she, Amber? Yeah, she's great. But yeah, how can we give a bit more certainty around that?
I'm not sure on that one. For that far out as well. So that would be something we would need to discuss with this topic around rolling over an allocation to another financial year, whether or not we can allocate. I think we've had this discussion before too, if we can look to allocate or set aside funding for an event that we know is coming in 2 or 3 years' time. Yeah, I think this has been discussed, I think, even when we had World Masters Games.
That's
don't have an answer for it, but at that time with World Masters Games, as an example, we did put a paper to exec at the time. God, this is really testing my memory. To exec and then through to council for a new budget line for that, leveraging for World Masters Games. So when we have the real big international stuff that we've got time up our sleeve for in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years' time, we do look to process that ahead of time where we can. But obviously the district promotion budget has its 12-month process, so we probably need to look into that. And now we've got COVID on our hands, it's probably the really good time to actually see how we can action things moving forward, because we didn't have this 2 or 3 years ago, obviously, and these rules have been around the way they are for quite a while.
Thanks, Amber. Okay, all right, so we've got our recommendation here for this item, and yeah, I'm just looking for a move in this. So we've got this is A, B. That's right, isn't it? Is it correct? Yeah. Can I have a move in, please, for that recommendation? This is a cancellation policy. So Marcus and Philip, all in favour?
Aye.
Aye, carried. Okay, nice, easy one. Okay, everybody, are there any other comments on our agenda this morning anyone wants to discuss? Otherwise, we'll close the meeting shortly and get ready for our next meeting.
I will jump in and just discuss where we're at for cancellations and postponements too, once you guys have all finished your comments there, if you have any.
I think we're good. Thanks, Amber. You take it away.
Okay, so I'll just go through the list where we're at for now. So with the district promotion events, so we've had 7.5 cancellations out of 34, and I'm being very specific here because I'd like some optimism in this list. So the one that's the half, we'll start with that one, are the CrossFit Nationals. So they've got the team champs and the individual champs. One that was meant to be in October, one is set for December. So they've obviously cancelled the October physical event. So that one is out as of yesterday. We had the 100k flyer, or end of last week, 100k flyer cancel, and Culinary Cambridge has cancelled, although for that particular one, some restaurants are still hosting mini events. Yep, I think I've got that right, Philip. Kiwi Grass pulled the plug. I think it was around when we went into lockdown, August, start of September. The Hope or Light Show Gala, which would have been a new event for us, but have had to pull the plug. Armistice in Cambridge, which is a big one, to lose for the first time for this, well, not for this reason in particular, but for the people in that particular do we call it interest level. It's quite a shame for that one. We've obviously had quite a few of them asking if they can host mini events in November around the town. So we've connected them up with the community board to see what else they could do. Porongia Craft Fair, which is the huge 10,000 strong event in Porongia. That was a real blow, but the volunteers there really needed to consider what they could achieve, and there's no way that they could have done that in an outside venue. And the Great Kiwi Summer Expo has been postponed to its first year for next year, which will be the best spot for it, I think. So although a lot of these organisers have been really disappointed with making the call, Claire and I have been kind of just in that supportive space saying, look, we will come back from this. It is going to take time, but we're here to support you guys and work through plans moving forward, ensuring that we're helping with connections and things like that as well. Postponements in that space, we've had 4 out of the 34 so far. Over 40s football tournament, Gin Credible, Point Break Super Boat Wake Surf Comp, which was a part of was being hosted at the same weekend as the Summer Expo, and Te Amu Rowing Club. So those 4 are at the moment toying with new dates. So we'll keep you guys posted as we see updates from them. They are looking for the new year. February is actually looking incredibly busy. Claire's comment before about how our condensed year may look. So at the start of August, we had about 6 or 7 events in October. Lockdown hit for those first 2 or 3 weeks, and October ended up having 17 events in it. And then as of this week, we've had 1, and we've got 1 possibly locked in for the 30th with the Speedway opening night and fireworks, but obviously that will be up in the air at this stage. So yeah, we went from about, I think, 5 to 8, 17 was our peak, and yeah, back down to 2. So February, from that, people are pushing out to the new year. So February is currently our big month. So don't talk to us then, basically. So with the community events, we are seeing less cancellations in this space. Obviously, with some of these events, their budgets are smaller, so there's a little bit less risk in terms of them making the calls early or earlier than what the District Promotion Fund scale events have been. But the 3 cancellations we've had were the Stragglers Car Show and Family Day. Flowers of the Future, although I was advised at the time that that wasn't cancelled due to COVID, it was due to other reasons. And Gitbox, the theatre show in Te Amu, has also been pulled at the stage. And 2 events that are postponed at this point are the Porongia Trail Run. They're looking at February, and the Cambridge Half Marathon is currently looking at November from memory. But again, we've got to just see how we go for the next few weeks. So there are a lot of cancellations there. There are a lot of postponements, but people are still, I'm finding anyway, still quite optimistic about this, taking this time to be planning things, creating new ideas, making new connections. So there is kind of this background movement of people still doing the mahi to get that work done, to keep processing things along, although they can't physically host their events. So yeah, it's pretty hard on a lot of industries. I know Claire and I have been busting it to get some of these events off the ground, and every week we're getting the update, and it's quite disappointing to see a lot of this, backroom work that never gets seen until the event happens isn't being seen, and we're having to either repeat it in 6 months' time, or it's just gone down the toilet because we haven't been able to execute with the event organizer. So it's been a hard few weeks, but we've just got to support these guys and make sure that they know that they're not the only ones having to pull the pin if they are in that difficult position. So yeah, hoping for some optimism, bring on 2022. I think I said that in 2020 about 2021, but we'll see how we go. Yeah.
Thanks, Amber. And I guess, I was just having a really good conversation yesterday with Brendan from the Tawananga in Te Amutu, because they had an event, a Wakaama event actually, that the Tawananga was sponsoring, and he cancelled that yesterday. But he said he actually said that it was now going to be a virtual event. So we had a very lively conversation about, well, what does a virtual Wakaama event look like? And I was kind of envisaging, something in the bathtub, something. How does it work? Anyway, and it turns out there are waka ergs, like rowing ergs, out there now. And in fact, it's a Cambridge firm that has who has got them. So yeah, so I was really hats off to some of our event hosts. They have been, a little bit, thinking outside the box, so to speak. And so, yeah, really, really, really great to still see something still happening, even if it's in a virtual sense. So, okay, right. Any other comments before we close the meeting? Excellent. Okay. Hey, look, thank you everyone for your attendance. And that was a little on the early side. And I'll see many of you again